Okay guys, welcome back in this lesson. Our last lesson we talked about HTML, which is what we did last time was this in front of you here. So in this time around we are going to talk about CSS. So before I continue, when we are treating this particular basic of HTML, some of you will be wondering what is HTML. HTML we are talking about. HTML is simply a hypertext markup language. That's the full meaning of HTML. So now we will talking about CSS. CSS simply means cascading style sheets. So here in CSS there are three main ways to style our HTML. Three main CSS ways to style our HTML. Number one of them is inline CSS. What's inline CSS? Inline CSS is for instance, we want to style this particular element here, this H1. So, and we want to use inline CSS to do that. What we need to do is initiate the keyword style. Then we want to give it a background color for it. Don't worry about this background color, we come into them one after the other. Right. And save. So now the method of CSS we are using now is called inline CSS. So let's view our site and see what we have done so far. So let's refresh. Okay, we give it a background color of white, and this particular style take effect in only this element H1. Then there's another way of applying CSS in our work, which is the second one is internal CSS. So in internal CSS, we come up here in our header part of our HTML file. All we need to do to initiate the name style as we did in inline CSS. Then we start writing our code. So let's target this element H2. So to target it, what we need to do is H2. Then we give it a color. Color of blue. So this method we are using now is called internal CSS. So let's go back to the browser and see what we have done so far. Let's refresh. So as you can see, our CSS have taken effect in our H2 element. Then there's another one. That one is called external CSS. In external CSS, all you need to do is to create a separate folder, a separate file, not a folder. So let's try that one. So the name of the file will be CSS, then the extension CSS. So now we have created a CSS file. But any code we write, for instance, let's target our P element. And give it a background color of red. Background color. Okay, let's say background color of green. Then the text, let's give it a color of white. So if we go back to our browser and refresh, you see nothing happened. Why? Because we have not called this CSS in our HTML. So to do that, we need to go back to the HTML file and call our HTML. So how can we do that? We start with link. Okay, link, then reference style sheets. That's what we are referencing. Then here href, this is, we have seen this href somewhere in our anchor tag. So this is to trigger the element we want to call. So here we are calling our css So in case you are working with multiple folder and you don't know the exact place your CSS file is, or you don't want to get a confusion from your CSS, you will implement this method. First of all, // that means look for this folder, this file in external folder. But now our CSS file and HTML file are in the same folder. No need of making use of it. It's when you are working with a bunch of files and you have different folders. So let's save and go back to the browser and refresh. Let's see what we have. Now our style have taken place. So this is the basic, the three main ways of styling and implementing your CSS. The first one is internal inline CSS, which we use here. Inline CSS. The second one is internal CSS, which we use here. Then the third one was inline CSS, which we create a folder and call it here, link it up here. So this is the main three ways of creating an HTML file. Thank you. Stay tuned for videos like this.